Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole, and you see this lovely picture of Vanessa here. Skype problems, all kinds of, and we don't like Skype, but kind of a necessary evil for this. So she just got it online. It took like over half an hour to update, so we apologize. We hope you excuse the wait for the show to start. So let me.
Sorry.
It's not your fault, Vanessa. So let me switch out this pick. This was going to be our alternative. I was going to have her on the phone and then use the pick. And then right as we were starting up the show, her Skype finally kicked in. So let me get that going. Vanessa, you might want to put the brush down.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I was trying to look pretty for you.
So you're going to see me adjust all kinds of like stuff. As long as this comes up. And maybe it's got the Skype screen behind it. We'll see what happens. Is it not? Okay, there's your head. So we are going to adjust Vanessa here.
Let me sit on a pillow?
See, this is all the stuff that I actually do beforehand. No, it's not you. It's because my screen was adjusted for 2 guests. And because you weren't able to come in on Skype early in the show, I didn't have time to adjust. So there's that. And there's Vanessa. That's the Skype splash screen. Let's go back to the main screen. We can get rid of that, and then I have to adjust this. Sorry. But yeah, our topic for the evening, I know Vanessa was excited.
I was, and I am.
And she is actually, because I was going to do something different. A couple of people that I talked to, I was already saying, yeah, maybe we could talk the historic and ancient stuff that I haven't done yet. And then Shana and I were talking yesterday, I think. It might have been the day before, about the reincarnation stuff. And then it was like, you know, that's going down the rabbit hole. So there we are. There's Vanessa. Say hello, Vanessa.
Hi. And I can't see you though, except for your picture.
You can see. You can only see my picture. Oh, that's weird. Okay. I wonder why that is. Oh, because I had the video off for some reason.
There's my bed.
There we go. Okay. Now that maybe we have it all situated, and thank you all for being very patient with us here. We'll show you all for a minute. We'll show the chat room, and then there's, boop, there we go. There's all of you. Thank you. And it's funny. Linda Miller just showed up in the chat room. She says, "Sorry, I'm late. You didn't miss anything."
Linda, honey, so was I. Okay, it's okay.
So, I'm Mike Ricksecker. This is Vanessa Hogle. Our chat Shananigator, Shana, is down in the chat room, and she will be keeping you entertained for the evening. While, please do chime in, and, especially at a show like this where we actually don't have a guest. And we do this sometimes, where we don't have a guest and we just talk about a subject. And that's what we're doing tonight. We do, because that really involves the chat room a lot. So, looking forward to what we end up discussing when it comes to reincarnation. And what did I just click on?
I don't know.
What did you do? Okay, that was weird. Okay. Okay.
Is it all good?
I don't know. So, I'm looking at the screen and it shows everything like still. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. Can you guys see us okay? Because it looks like everything just paused on the screen. So what an absolutely aggravating night.
Yes.
Try this again.
You know what? I think that we doomed ourselves.
I guess. I guess. I don't know. One of those nights. Okay. So.
Because it doesn't.
I'm wishing Sandy Miller a happy birthday for tomorrow. Sandy, happy birthday. And they saw us still moving. Everything on my screen was frozen. So okay. Except that I could hear Vanessa.
Well, there's 3 of me on my screen.
You still see 3 of you. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Oh well. I mean, it's all like triplets.
It's all right.
That ought to make some people happy out there.
One of those shows. So, let's get to the beginning, the beginning stuff that we're supposed to do. Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. That did the intros. Ghosty, if you haven't got your Ghosty yet, please go ahead, get your Ghosty. He is the Haunted Road Media mascot. Go to hauntedroadmedia.com/shop, or just go out there and click on the shop button. Selfie with Ghosty is the hashtag. Thank you, Shana, for the hashtag. And then Ghosty also has his own Facebook page where people have been posting all kinds of great Ghosty pics. Donna Bucksbaum, who's in the chat room, recently uploaded one that was Ghosty in some blues, St. Louis blues stuff. So he's a hockey fan. And then, yeah. So,
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I don't know if she's watching, but Sabrina Myers was at the down there by the NFL draft and had Ghosty on some different football uniforms, Browns and Patriots. So
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. So Ghosty gets around. Not like that. Well, you never know. He might.
Go Ghosty. All right, you got more of a life than I do. Okay,
the other thing, hang on. The other thing, we want to give you guys a name. So, yeah. Like, whatever you want your nickname to be. I know Vanessa was thinking the Mad Hatters. I don't know, you guys could call yourselves, like, pick an adjective, rabbits, I don't know, or raging rabbits, or I don't know, something. Probably, preferably.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. Probably preferably something related to, you know, Alice in Wonderland, or, you know, something Edge of the Rabbit Hole-ish. I said hole-ish. So, oh my gosh, and they're talking about, Vanessa, you want to keep laughing? They're talking about Ghosty ectogasm in the chat room. Ghosty ectogasm. You go, buddy. Just, you need a towel?
I told you, he has more of a life than I do. I'm a born-again virgin, and here Ghosty is having ectogasms.
He's having ectogasms over there. Just keep it private.
Yeah, you know what we need to do is have one of those little black bars.
Yeah, put a little black bar over Ghosty. He might have. There's a couple Ghosty gals back there in the back. Maybe that's something's going on when I'm not around. I don't know.
Anyway, oh my, wow, really?
I don't know. Reincarnation.
There you go.
That's what, just boom, we'll get into it. Reincarnation. Vanessa, go.
Okay. I have a few. Stop it. I have a few, actually. Everyone's heard the, you know, my witchy one. Everybody knows that one where I got all hung and everything.
Yep.
What they haven't heard about, I don't think I've mentioned this before, it's actually in the new book. this was very bizarre. This actually happened after that. And I was dating somebody, but we weren't living together or anything. And I was in my townhome, which was haunted, of course, because, hello. And I laid down to take a nap or do something, and I had a dream where me and the person that I was with were actually kind of running, not like a fast run, but we were running through this courtyard with this big castle and the stone houses and everything, and there were the long tables and such that everybody was sitting at and they were eating, and we were looking for somebody. And I mean, that part I knew. And I mean, it's not even that I knew it was him, but I think my mind let me believe that because we were together. And but it was me at least, running through this area, and I was looking for somebody, but I didn't know who and what was going on. I was running up to people, and I mean, I was smiling at them, and they were smiling at me, and they couldn't see what I could see on their face. And that was these big black sores that when they would smile, it would start oozing down their face.
Oh, wow. But
they had no idea. I could see it, and I'm trying to keep this shocked look off my face.
Right.
You know, but I mean, and it wasn't everybody. It was like 4 out of 10. You know, out of every 10 people I saw, 4 of them, and it didn't matter how old they were, had these boils all over their face, and this just nasty, funky stuff just coming out of them. Well, it bothered me so much that I woke up, you know, and I called my then boyfriend, and I was telling him about it, and I was describing some of the people, and I described this one fella that stood out in the crowd, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't have a fucking clue, but I described him to him, and he said, "You know who that is, right?" I'm like, well, obviously I don't, because I'd be telling you who it was. He said, go over to the computer, type in this name.
Okay.
I did. And it was the guy to a T. Exactly how I saw him. Perfect.
Oh, wow.
And it was William the Black.
Okay, wow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that was a past life memory.
Very well could be.
Coming through in a dream state, because why in the fuck would I dream about him? I don't know who this person is. I love history, but I am not as immersed in it as a lot of the people. You know, as my now ex-boyfriend was. He was very, very, very history. I have to give credit where it's due. And he knew exactly who I was talking about. I didn't have a flipping clue.
Can you go ahead and say the name again? Carrie was asking to repeat the name.
William the Black.
William the Black. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting subject for me because I didn't used to previously believe in reincarnation. It's kind of a, you know, I knew people who believed in it, and I was like, oh, you know, it's a interesting idea, but you know, I don't know. I don't know about that. And I did read a couple years ago some works by Dolores Cannon. Andrea Perrin had kind of put me onto her because of her. She would do the what the heck are they called? The past life regressions using hypnosis, and the information in her books was really, really interesting. And you know, I read it with some skepticism, and we'll get a little bit more into some of those details about what she actually got out of these sessions. But still, I was like, it's interesting if that's true, but I still I don't really know if that's true. It really took meeting Shana, because it was just like when we met, it was like, oh, there you are. It was like I knew I'd known her before in a past life. It was just like instant, boom.
Exactly.
Which was really just because we were supposed to be investigating and all that at the time on the showboat, and it's like, you know, my mind kept going over there, and it's like we're investigating the boat, and you know, I'm learning about the history, and I'm filming and all that stuff, and so my mind is like, I know her from elsewhere. We've never met before, but I know her, you know. So
well, and it's strange. I think everybody thinks that, and for your case, it worked out. That in order for it to be a past life connection or a soulmate, that it has to be a love interest. And that isn't necessarily true all the time. I mean, I have noticed over these past 2 years a surge, at least in my life, of connections being made with people that I know for a fact I have had multiple lives with. It's in the book. I'm very blunt about it. And we've had these discussions, me and these other people. I mean, there's no way for the connection to be as strong as it is with us. There's no way for there not to be a past life, more than acquaintance, you know, more than just a passing hello. And I mean, I firmly believe that. Even when I went to go visit the girls in England,
right,
that's family. Immediately, that's family, you know. I drew Chris. A lot of people don't know this. Chris with BPI.
Yeah.
I drew a picture of him 6 months before he joined BPI, which was before I even knew who Gwen was. I found out that he was the same person I drew when, this is no joke, y'all, I'm sitting on the potty taking the tinkle, and I'm looking at my phone because we all do it. I'm not weird. And I'm watching one of her videos that she sent me. And I almost dropped my phone.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. No way. I went and found the picture. And I screenshot it and sent it to Gwen. And I said, who's this? She goes, that's Chris. When did you draw that? And I told her. And it was, I want to say it was his year. No, he had only been with them a little bit. BPI had been a group for a year.
Okay.
I drew this before they even became a group.
Before they were even a group. Okay, wow.
He was just somebody I saw in my head. So I drew it. We all know how I roll. You know, I see you in my head going on paper. Be okay with it. And we still can't figure out why I would draw someone who is living that I didn't even know.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're in my life.
Yeah, see, I've had... yeah, and I've had incidents before, you know, earlier in my life where, you know, looking back on it now, I could certainly see, you know, was maybe a vision of a past life. Like, you know, I always have something going on with dreams. You know, I never claim to be, you know, psychic or have abilities or what have you, but when it comes to dreams, I do have something going on there. And, you know, one of them, I know I have a Friday Night Ghost Frights out there on it, and I know we've talked about it with Vanessa. You know, one of them was a house that I had dreamt of long before we ended up in an investigation on it. You weren't on that investigation, but I know you know of that. But there was another one that, you know, I was sitting in a Burger King. It was like, I was like 18 years old, sitting there with a friend. We were just catching up. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, strange things that have kind of happened in our lives, can't be explained. And so I started telling her about this dream that I'd had when I was a kid. That I was in a jungle, and there was a war going on, and there was, you know, all this shooting and fighting. And I was a soldier. I had a gun. I was shooting at people. And all of a sudden, this soldier from the opposing side is right in my face. Pulls out a pistol, boom, point blank, right in my head. And all of a sudden, everything goes extremely just vivid colors all over the place. It's like swirling and swirling and swirling. And, you know, this goes on for a little while, and then it suddenly just stops. You know, I'm back in the jungle, and nobody's around. It's dead silent. Well, I tell this. story to my friend, and there's this guy sitting at another table that comes up to me, and he's like, I couldn't help but overhearing, and I don't normally do this, but here's my number. I want to talk to you sometime about your story. It's like, okay, you know, I was I was a kid at the time. I was like, here's this, you know, creepy guy coming up to me telling me he wants to talk to me about my story. So I never called him, but, you know, thinking back on that, to me, that's Vietnam. Jungle, shooting, all that type of stuff. Guy jumping out right from the bushes to, you know, shoot you in the head. You know, so, you know, it just makes me wonder if, I mean, I was born in 1974. You know, it was, yeah, no.
Think about it.
I think he was another soldier over there. I think he fought over there in Vietnam, and the story that I told kind of struck a chord with him, and maybe he had dealt with, you know, things about, you know, dreams like that, or even past lives, and had something to tell me. I don't know, but to me it was a vision of a past life. Now thinking about it as I'm older and suddenly, you know, believing that.
Well, and it's difficult. I know that it's hard for people to grasp because, and you actually put in the description of tonight's show that we would discuss this. It's hard for people to grasp because so much of our society is brought up believing that when you pass over to one location or the other. It's hard for them to understand that there is a very real possibility and plenty of substantiated evidence to back it up as of today that you have more than one life. I mean, they have interviewed people, children even, who know things there is absolutely no possible way of them knowing about a previous life. There's no way. My own aunt believes, and she has information that others don't have, okay, that you can't easily find, nor is she adept on the computer. She believes that she was one that passed away on the Titanic. Not anybody important, not anybody, not one of the rich people, you know, and it's really weird how she came across that. Anytime they talked about it, and she's considerably older than I am. She's in her 70s, and anytime they talked about it when she was in school, in grade school, she would have to leave. She couldn't handle it, and I mean, she would throw fits and cry and everything else, and so she couldn't participate. and it didn't come full circle until she ended up seeing the movie years later, and she knew everything that was going to happen, even with that being dramatized, and the people in the movie not part of it, before it even happened. She knew where the breaks would be. She knew all of that. And I think that it's something that people really need to put their religion aside, if possible, their fears aside, which is what most of this is based on, and open up their minds a little bit. I think we would get so much further.
Yeah.
In our understanding and in our inner peace.
Yeah, I want to go to the chat room in just a minute, because there is some good feedback coming in. And I remember Shana talking about this, that there was a little girl that had recognized her from a previous life. I remember Shana. It was either a phone call or, you know, through chat. She's like, "Oh my God, this just happened," and she told Shana that she knew her from before. And I asked her if I looked like this, and she said no. I asked her if she looked like she did now, and she said no. And I remember Shana telling me that. So that's an interesting experience there, where it's like, you know, a little girl recognizes her, but knows that, you know, they were two different people at the time when they previously met. Megan, I have to scroll back up into the chat a little bit. Megan Talbert says, Sylvia Brown, lover or hater, stated that we would set up our lives before we came back to this level of existence, and we would make sure people who were close to us would be in our lives again. Could have been a brother, father, friend, or husband in the past life. You made sure to cross paths again somehow in this life. I always kind of felt that could be true. Well, that's part of what Shana and I did with the hand fasting back in October. That's supposed to bind the souls into the next life, so that in our next life we'll be able to find each other because we've bound our souls together with the cord. That's what all that's supposed to represent. And I have heard, of course, those theories of, kind of almost like your own little collective group or family, where once you've passed from this life and get onto that next plane of existence where you kind of all know each other, and you set that up. And that's kind of a little bit of what Dolores Cannon was getting into as well. Hers was very, very different, because she even brought into with these different sessions that she had with people where they were having visions of alien lives and stuff like that too. Like, you might not necessarily come back to Earth, you could go off to another planet somewhere, so it's a little different, but still interesting, because I believe there's other life out there, so why not go into an alien life if you believe that. So yeah, but she did some of the sessions that she would do, and the feedback that she would get from these past life transgressions did take place in that plane of existence, between worlds, where from what I recollect, and I've only read like 1 or 2 of her books, so there's more to dive into, but the people have talked about having that is like their real home, and down here on Earth is where we come to visit. And yeah, you can arrange, people that are your family there to come be down here with you as well. So, really, really interesting on, these tales that, people are, relating that, that this could possibly really, exist out there.
Well, and I'm not saying I disagree with that, but I'm a fairly intelligent gal, and I like to think that I might have been in the past as well. Why in the hell I would have set it up to where I didn't come into contact with these people until I was in my 40s would be beyond me. It would have been nice if they were born.
Well, and I would think, yeah, that would have, knowledge of the future, though, and I don't think up there we would know the future, just that somehow we've set it up where we could be in each other's lives again. Like, Shana and I are just like, why didn't we meet sooner? Why couldn't we have met sooner? Why did it have to be this late into life, But it is, but we're happy that we at least have now, and we can move forward. But yeah, we've talked about before, okay, we've bound our souls, we better get into each other's lives earlier next time.
Well, I mean, exactly, and you know what? You're probably onto something there. I mean, I have met people through the internet. I mean, aside from the girls, the guys in England, I love them to death. They're my family. I got Gwen and Chris, and Jan is my soul sister. I've had her forever. But I've met others through the internet that I know that if the meeting was ever in person, that it would be very similar to what you're describing, with Shana. And I've always believed that that this is my last go around, and now I'm not so sure. Yeah,
I remember you saying that before.
Just because just because I think that there are others that I'm still supposed to come into contact with. But it brings up another really good point. Is one thing that people rarely talk about is when you take a severe disliking to somebody when you have no reason to.
Yeah.
I mean, just their energy, whatever it is about them, the second you meet them, or touch their skin, or just share in the same air for whatever reason, it's an instant dislike, which isn't natural. That's not something that we're naturally born with. Is hatred.
Right.
And so to me, that's another piece of the puzzle that lends me to believe even more in past lives. I've had people where the second I was in their presence, I had to leave. Yeah,
I know what you mean. A little bit more feedback from the chat room. Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast. I don't know if that's Britt or Aaron. That's one of you. Says some invitees who were invited to speak with an alien, this is kind of going to the Dolores Cannon stuff, who were invited to speak with an alien, have said that they were told that when you die, you are given a choice to go to another world to be reincarnated or stay here on Earth. So, kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I never really looked at it that way.
Yeah. So, there's, again, the option of a choice.
Yeah, I have to say this because I want to know what everyone's opinion is in the chat room. And I've never even told you this, Mike.
Okay.
So, are you ready to jump?
Okay.
Because we're going down that hole. The only thing that I have ever seen in my dream state that made me believe in other worlds is I guess you want to call it astral traveled or projected or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like it was made entirely of glass. The entire place was made of glass. But it was made of glass that looked medieval, but the materials weren't. It was almost as if it was drawn by Disney, which is really strange. But every home, every building, everything was made of blue glass. And there was very strange green, bright, vibrant green, grassy knolls where everything was just kind of sitting on top of it. It was kind of, they like jutted out of it. And it was all blue glass. And everybody that was walking around there, they were walking, but about this far, about 6 inches above the ground.
Oh, wow.
They never touched the ground.
Interesting.
It was almost like gravity said, yeah, I'm going to let you go down, but not far enough.
Right.
Does that mean anything to anybody?
I don't know.
And it was
we have
beautiful.
we have a little bit of a delay between us and the chat, so we'll let them soak that in for a second, and hopefully hear back here in a minute. In the meantime, Carrie Parrish says, your energy tends to gravitate toward what it knows, which is why so many come back into this world time and again. And then there was, let's see, so I think it scrolled way down. Okay, I must have missed it somewhere. Well, you know, when it comes to dreams, you know, and it's interesting. I've never had any sort of experience to tell me or give me a hint or give me a clue that there's extraterrestrial life. It's just kind of, I don't know. To me, it's common sense. You know, there's billions of planets out there. How could we possibly be the only one with life on it? That, and you know, I know our government wastes money, but why would they throw so much money into trying to find alien life out there? And you know, during my time in the Air Force, I've seen some of that expenditure. So it doesn't make much sense to me that they would, you know, waste all that time, energy, and resources on that. You know, when they could be making more bombs with it, you know, because that's what they really like to do.
Let's not do that, okay?
Let's not do that. But yeah. So to me, it's something I inherently know. But you having that kind of a vision is really, really interesting. So let's see if we've got any feedback in the chat yet on that.
It wasn't scary at all. It was
and Megan Talbert says, not complete glass, but I've had dreams where I'm swimming through a glass house and air was not an issue. I always love those dreams.
And that's it's funny because to me that's what this reminded me of. If you could imagine, and I don't want to say frozen water because that's just ice, but if you could imagine homes that looked like they were made out of water, but it was glass, that's what these were. Mm-hmm. You know, and there seemed to be one central location, one large, very large home, building, castle, mansion, whatever you want to call it, that sat up higher than the rest. But it didn't have that foreboding feeling to it. This was harmony in a way that I can't even describe. I can't give it proper explanation. It was that beautiful,
wow,
that peaceful, that serene.
Yeah, Shauna's chiming in on that as well. She says, "Oh, Vanessa, I had a dream where everything was in animation except me and the river I was on. My entire town was covered in water. Everything was in animation like Disney. Some dude in animation was boating me around. And no, I don't do drugs, and I didn't eat weird stuff before bedtime."
No pizza?
No mushrooms?
It makes you wonder if there isn't an aquatic connection.
Yeah, because that's definitely, and Shana does really seem to have a water connection anyway, I believe. So.
But I definitely do. I'm Pisces through and through.
Yeah, and yeah, you can definitely see a water connection. Megan was talking about water there. I've had, and this is going to just be really weird. I had interesting dreams in the past with alligators, and water was always involved. I had, when I was younger, recurring alligator dreams, and not necessarily that they were dangerous alligators or anything. And in fact, I would even say that at least one of them I was the alligator. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
But again, I was younger. I haven't had those for a long time.
It makes me wonder. Sorry, I'm texting my son here because he was trying to call me. But it makes me wonder, with all of us having these different water elements and everything coming in, water's life.
Yeah, water's life. I mean, exactly.
Yeah, water is life, and to me, if I'm going to view any type of higher being in any instance, if I'm going to put anything of credence towards it, that's going to be the thing that I'm going to do, is their need for water just like ours. And maybe they lived in more aquatic situations than we did. Maybe they're more adept at being able to do that than we are, because, I mean, it's kind of been, bred out of us. I mean, they've proven babies straight out of the womb, you can put them right in a pool and they'll start swimming.
Well, yeah, they've been, they've been in watery type substance for 9 months. So, and there's the, what was that movie? The Abyss, where they put where they put the suit on him and he breathes in the water, and there are deprivation tanks designed like that where you basically do ingest that watery type stuff, and they say that your body will remember, and you basically float in there and you have no senses whatsoever when you get to that state. But that is really true. Your body somehow, some way does remember being able to do that. I guess the right amount of oxygen has to be in the water, though, in order for it to work. And just a side note. Just a side note, Donna Gort from the chat room says, "My daughter, as a toddler, announced to my mom one day that she was a boy before." So, sounds like a lot of people have had these type of experiences. Yeah.
My nephew, and he's in his 20s now, but there was a bridge back in Wichita, Kansas, that when he was little, 2, 3 years old, you could not drive over that bridge without him screaming bloody murder. Yeah. And finally, when he was old enough to tell us, we were like, Ty, what's going on? And he just kept screaming, "I died there." What 2-year-old does that? Yeah,
a 2-year-old wouldn't think to do that.
You don't do that, and it was never, it was never encouraged to him. We never gave him ideas as to why he would do that. He came up with that all his own. My own son has talked about previous lives, and he's done it since he could speak. And it's not ever something where I sat down and I said, okay, well, did it look like this? Or did the people that you saw, did they look like this? Yeah. No, I was like, okay, well, tell Mama.
Yeah.
Tell Mama
what were they wearing, that sort of stuff, yeah.
Exactly. I never gave him any ideas, and you couldn't get more accurate than what he did. I've told you this, but I haven't. I don't think I've said it publicly. When he was about 5, we were living in that 4 or 5, 4, I think. We were living in that townhome, and he was upstairs. I was downstairs on the phone, and I had Dracula 2000 in the DVD player.
Okay.
And I heard him coming downstairs, and I didn't think anything of it. You know, it's not a dirty movie or nothing. You know, he came downstairs and he looked at the TV, and it was at the part of the show where Judas Iscariot is hanging from the tree, and there's all those silver pieces at his feet.
Yeah.
And like 30 silver pieces, and my son starts yelling, and I said, "What's wrong, Gray?" And he goes, "That's Father."
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I dropped the phone. I'm like, what? The man that he had been explaining to me for 2 years, he pointed to that movie and said, "That's him. That's how he died, Mama." And he's 4 years old.
Wow. Yeah, see, that stuff like that, you know he's got to be remembering a past life. He just didn't come up with that. Yeah, it's funny. I wouldn't listen to that stuff before, but now I do. So I'm going to throw something out there. And Megan and her quote kind of touched on it earlier, but I did dig up a Dolores Cannon quote just before the show. If we don't pass a test, learn a lesson, there's always the next time. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You have all of eternity. But wouldn't you rather learn now than take forever? Actually, this isn't the quote that I thought I grabbed.
She's right.
Yeah. So this is more about lessons learned. I thought it was the one about being in people's lives. But still, yeah. But we can hit on this too. Okay, if we don't pass the test, learn a lesson. There's always the next time. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If we have all of eternity, but wouldn't you rather learn now than take forever? So with this one though, the question then is, what are we supposed to be learning down here?
I'm trying not to sneeze.
Learn how not to sneeze. Okay, that's a good skill to have, I'm sure, in the afterlife. But
I know. But I understand where she's coming from, because that is one of the reasons why I have said for many years that I didn't believe I was going to have to come back, because I have finally broken detrimental habits to myself. I've learned independence that I know I've never had before. I've learned to stand up for myself, and I've never done that this way before. I've learned that I have a voice, and I don't believe that I ever used that before. This is the first time in any of my lives where I've been completely dependent upon myself. Nobody takes care of me. I do. And this is also the only life I've ever had a child.
Oh wow, okay.
So yes.
And you know in your past lives you haven't. Okay. No,
I had never been a mother, and my son is a true medical miracle.
Well, yeah,
by all laws of medicine, he shouldn't exist.
Right. Well, some people are chiming in on what we might be doing here. Donna Gordon says soul growth. Donna Bucksbaum says awareness, or reaching a higher state of awareness.
Oh, so, yes. Very much so. Both of them hit the nail on the head. The thing is, and I'm gonna get all schooly on y'all.
No, go for it.
When you are opening yourself up to the universe, when you are finally becoming an empowered, educated, open-souled individual, you will find your life changing. You will find your attitude changing. You will find the way that you do things changing. Your acceptance of treatment will change. The way you treat others will change. The way you view the world itself will change 100%. You actually become more tolerant, but more vocal when you start to open yourself up and become your true self. And I have been in the presence of many people who have not, and I don't want to sound superior because I am not, okay? This was just a choice of mine to finally accept these changes. But I have been in the presence of people who are less evolved. And as brutal as that sounds, it is the truth. Evolution doesn't always mean from monkey to man. It's the evolution of the soul. And it's taking all of us who are going this time frame, this period of evolving. It's taking all of us doing this to bring the changes in the world that need to happen. That doesn't mean we're going to see them in our lifetime, but we're setting the precedent for it to hopefully happen in the lifetime of our children or our grandchildren. And I think that they're absolutely right. There was not this evolved state 50 years ago.
Right.
There just wasn't. But you will notice just this legion of souls coming together, even if it's on social media, and you see the love exchange and the idea exchange and just an overall acceptance. That's what this time is for. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what our souls are here to do. Some not so much.
Robert White says, peace, personal growth, and understanding of the energy properties of the world. And then Shana says, if you become truly enlightened, you become invisible, just energy, per lamb, the gospel according to Christ's childhood friend Biff. And, yeah, Shana, you're talking about this book right here. This book is funny as hell. It really is. It's it's the unwritten story of like Jesus' life when he was a child.
You can actually, if you think of invisible in a different way, she's absolutely correct. Because what does invisible generally mean? Untouchable.
Yeah. Well, and we are all energy, and I believe light anyway. And maybe, depending on who we are and what we do, and what's in our hearts, maybe that light grows brighter or dimmer. We hear about, in that world that we can't see, how there's more positive and negative vibrations, and maybe if we have a more positive vibration, our light is growing brighter, than a more negative one. This maybe seems a little simplistic, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Simplicity is best. Simplicity is best. All you need for evolvement, okay, and to become that enlightened person, all you need to do is drop two things: fear and ego.
Carrie's saying, if you become truly energy, then you've completed your cycle through mortal life. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe there is a, end to returning here, and we've learned what we need to learn. Of course, there's always the question, why are we learning? What is it that we're not getting up there or out there or wherever it is that we need to get from here?
It might not be always us needing to learn. It might be us put back here to others. And think about that. If you have evolved to a certain level, sure, you could stay there, or you could come back and try to spread that light and share that energy and teach that higher understanding to those who haven't quite gotten there yet.
Well, and I believe that even here, part of what at least we should be doing, is helping others and, taking the knowledge that we gain and passing that on to others, sharing our experiences with people, sharing the knowledge that we've gained, maybe the compassion that we've gained, share that with other people, because we, in this body, we're not going to be here forever. So what is it that, me as Mike, can do, to positively impact, the people around me and the people that are going to, be here in the future and continue on. So, that's, part of what I'm trying to do, with the books and the videos and all that stuff is, pass that information on, but then also, the people that are around me, I try to help. Whatever the situation is, it's like, I'm always like, okay, can I do something here? Can I do something there?
Well,
because we're all in this together.
Well, you have to look at it this way too. Yes, we are all in this together. However, the universe itself, in its entirety, cannot exist without balance. It just can't. So, I mean, nature doesn't exist without balance. Things die off. And there very well may be, and we're just hypothesizing here because none of us are experts. But there very well may be a reason, again, for us being brought back that might be more evolved or more people of the light, warriors of the light, if you will. Because you're always going to have that negative, those walkers of the dark. You know?
Well, yeah. There's always
bringers of evil and everything else, and so you've got to have a proper balance of light and dark.
Well, yeah, and we're always going to have those people, and you know, people will point out, hey, you know, there's, you know, so much more of this, you know, evil going on in the world these days, or more crime going on in the world these days. Well, there's a lot more people in the world these days too. So yeah, we have a lot of that going on, but there's still a lot of people around that are doing good, and yeah, we're counterbalancing each other.
Well, and that's
you know, and for you know, and I guess, you know, it's kind of strange to think about it. It just kind of hit me. For every, you know, they say for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So I guess I got to ask the question: if I do something good, does that mean somebody over there is going to do something bad? That's, you know, equally as bad from my good.
Yes.
So does that mean I'm making somebody be bad?
No. No. It doesn't.
I won't do any good because that means somebody over there is going to do something bad. Hey, you could.
This is what I've had this discussion with a lot of people because, I mean, obviously things hurt my heart. I see war stories. I see hurt children, abused children. All of that stuff, that hurts my heart. I think people shouldn't, you know, I get angry at all the people dying of disease or people that die in earthquakes in other countries, and you name it, I cry. Okay, that's just me. But I also understand that it is part of our life cycle. This is how it is. These things have to happen. You know, we can continue to do good and hope that it helps those that is affected by it, but we cannot banish or take away or make negativity or evil go away. We just can't do it, and the expectation that we can is misleading and it's dangerous because you have to have balance. There will never
and I think, you know, part of it's going to be how do we react to those negative things. You know, you see something negative over here happen. How do you react to that? How do you help somebody in, you know, that particular situation or whatever it is? We do have some additional feedback from the chat room. Carrie Parrish says, we are learning to coexist with ourselves, our fellow souls, the elements of the universe we share, and what it is we all have in common. When you've learned that, you're through with mortality. Donna Gorton says, if we didn't come away with the lesson of greater good in our befores, then that's one of the many things we come back for. Robert White says, it has me wondering, the young souls that are going through this for the first time, are they aliens that chose a different planet relocation?
I have often wondered that, Robert. I'm telling you.
That's an interesting question.
Sometimes I'm like, damn. Okay.
Well, yeah, and you know that
person feels just big, you know.
Yeah, and even if you don't have, even if you take the aliens out of it, I mean, we talked about it earlier that, hey, you know, your soul could go to another planet and all that, you know. But even if you take that out of it, and you're just looking solely, you know, at Earth. You know, some people have, you know, finished their cycle, have learned what they need to learn, and, you know, are moving onward wherever that is, and aren't coming back here. And then you have these others that have just showed up here for the first time. It just kind of begs to the question: how does that work? You know, where have those souls that haven't been here before? You know, where were they hanging out at before now?
Well, let's expand that question. What about your child prodigies? What if?
Well, yeah, they could be ones that are like that've been here, you know, 10, 12 times now.
What if the child prodigies are actually from other planets who have an exceptional amount of pre-education at those planets? and are born here in order to bring that education and that knowledge or whatever their specialty is to us so that we can learn from them.
Yeah, that's a good question. Are some of these massive breakthroughs because, you know, somebody is here now that had spent time elsewhere in another world that was more advanced, and somehow their mind has retained some of that knowledge? You know, it's an interesting question.
I've never thought of it that way. Thank you, Robert, for that, because I've never actually put that thought to my brain. You know, but it makes perfect sense because they're few and far between. But man, when they know something, they know something. You know, and I mean, they might be sent here to help us. You never know.
Maybe because there's a lot of that, you know, thinking as well, and maybe it's more of having to do with the souls than the whole, you know, aliens, you know, in a physical form were sitting here and passed on, you know, knowledge to us. Maybe it was just the whole cycle of the soul that, you know, that's how the quote-unquote alien knowledge, you know, got to us, was through souls, you know, that had already, you know, had that type of technology before being born here through the natural cycle and then developing that in this world.
That it makes perfect sense to me, you know, and I mean, I hadn't really given it a lot of thought before. But
yeah, that was great, really, Robert. Thanks.
Yeah, that was an awesome question.
Yeah.
I love it when someone can make me think. I love that. Because, you know, I try not to do it a lot. At least on days like today, I tell you, I wasn't kidding when I said this is a day where I'm either going to smile at you or I'm going to slit your throat. You know what? It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up. But one thing you said earlier, I still find shocking, and to me it's part of, I guess, the blinders that less evolved souls have, is when they talk about, you know, how it seems to be so much worse in the world today. Really? No. It's just more newsworthy. There's social media, there's TV, there's
more people. There's more people, and we're all connected much more closely. So, and that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier, where I was saying it seems like there's more crime now, you know, but yes, the numbers are higher because there's more people in the world than there had been before. And yes, you're right, we are more interconnected. There's, you know, media, television, you know, everything online. So it's like when, you know, something bad happens over there, you know right away. Heck, my phone blows up when there's an Amber Alert, you know, so I know immediately something bad is going on, you know. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, but this isn't as bad as things can be in today's world.
Yeah, it's just it's different, you know. There's
it's the
way things happened back then. I mean, you had a lot more disease back then. You know, the way people died, their lifespans were shorter. There was I guess, you know, your punishments for a crime were, you know, severe tortures, and, you know, so it was, yeah, that stuff was bad. But, you know, take some of the good with it as well. You know, back then you could walk anywhere, take a look up at the sky at night and see all the stars in the Milky Way. You know, there's very few places left in the world now these days where you can do that. You can do that at Goldenrod Showboat. That's one of the places where you can do it. But
and you can do it in England.
Yeah, yeah. We've lost so much of this world to just the way we have multiplied and spread out and just destroyed what's around us for the sake of progress. Not to knock down progress. You know, I appreciate my cell phone and the computer and the camera that are making this possible. But I think we've dug a little greedily at times.
True. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I mean, I downsized. I downsized from a 1,400 square foot home to a 700. You know, because I'm trying to do less. You know, I'm one of those people that wants a little tiny home when my son graduates. I'll live in 400 square feet. I don't care. I don't need much. You know, but that isn't. You know, I live in the land of McMansions. you know. And, you know, I mean, they're everywhere. People in Oklahoma got some cash. Don't let anyone tell you different. We got a lot of rich people here. I am not one of them. So, and I'm a hippie. You see my little hippie thing on the window here? Yeah. You know what? I ain't even hating. That's just me. Love me or not, I'm a hippie.
Well, we've got a couple more comments in the chat room that we got to wrap up. You know, we did start late because of the Skype issues, and we're right at our hour, so we're already late. So don't mean to cut you off, Vanessa, and we could keep this discussion going on for a while. Cut me off. So we'll have to do this one again another time. Ether Shadow says, mindfully existing in the moment is reality in a nutshell. That is a very powerful space to exist. Tammy Heitzman says, well, she's responding to Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast, but she says, because I don't believe we ever actually reach the ultimate. I don't think we never stop learning, no matter how many lives we've had. So she believes in we keep going and going and going, and continuously learning. And I do believe we're always learning.
We have to be.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and do some additional shout-outs. You guys have been great in the chat room. I've had a hard time keeping up to try to get some of your comments into the show tonight. So, Shana, always fantastic and as our chat Shananigator. Love you. Megan Talbert, thank you. Andrew Cox, talk about a lot of stuff in the chat room tonight, of course. Donna Gorton, thank you. A lot of comments from you that we read this evening. Donna Bucksbaum, thank you for your feedback as well. Ether Shadow, thank you. Real Paranormal Activity. Again, was it Britt or Aaron? I never caught in the chat. Tammy Heitzman, thank you. Linda Miller, yes. That was funny. You joined right as we were finally getting coordinated. Robert White, again, that was a great discussion point. I think we could have gone on with that one for a while. Julia Syracusa, thank you for stopping by. Great to have you visit the show tonight. It's awesome. Thanks.
Julia and I and Phil will be doing a show with Maureen on Thursday.
Oh, that's this Thursday is your show with Maureen. Okay, so Thursday night, this Thursday night, guys, two things you got to do. You got to listen to or watch Vanessa, but there's also the Enigma Underground Radio. So here's what you do. You have the music playing in the background while you're watching the show. See, that's how it works. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, it'll be myself, Julia, and Phil Syracusa.
That'll be
all
the show.
Three, so yep. That's a must watch.
Yep. So go watch that one. I'll be on the road, but that's what I'll be doing. I'll be. I just said I'm going to be watching while I'm on the road.
Don't do that, Mike.
Don't think I haven't done it before.
Okay. My goodness. And
I'm listening. I'm listening while I'm on the road. It just happens to be that the phone is mounted to the.
There you go.
It's mounted to the windshield. Okay.
I want to apologize to everybody for being in a bad mood. I tried to get rid of it. So.
Bad mood. Was Vanessa in a bad mood? I don't think so. No. All right, a few more shout-outs. Real Paranormal Activity Podcast. Thank you. Bethany, thank you for stopping by again. Appreciate that. Carrie Parrish, thank you for your feedback tonight.
Okay.
And I have to touch base with him. I don't know how he's been healing up. Just been busy. Super Woody Boy said, great discussion. You know, we already had our ghosty had an issue with that earlier. You know, hey, this was legit. When I was with my parents on Sunday, I was down at their house, freezer issue. I was helping my dad out, but there was supposed to be a visit to my aunt who's a nun at the convent. So I drove up with my parents, and we're getting off the highway. We pull up behind this truck, and legit decal for his business. He got phone number and everything on, all that on there. But his business name was Big Johnson Wood. I didn't get a picture in time. I missed it. Big Johnson Wood. It's a 440 number.
Okay, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Yeah,
or maybe it was a 3-2. I don't know, but yeah, it's a legit business.
I got nothing.
I'm looking for others. Okay, Tammy Sifford, thank you. And she was telling people to hit the thumbs up all the time. So that was awesome. Thank you for all the help in promoting the channel. And I think that's probably going to about do it for shoutouts. I know that there was a lot of discussion, throughout the evening. So there's a lot to kind of scroll through and find people to give the shoutouts for. So, but really want to. And there's other people coming in now. So Ludafan G, awesome. And Super Woody Boy is laughing, so that's awesome. All right. So and there's Sandy Miller. Happy birthday early for tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Sandy.
So and Diane Hilbert was there as well. She said good night, everybody. So she didn't get to hear her shout out. So I'm sorry, Diane. All right. But if we didn't give it a shout out, we love you all, and it's only because I'm scrolling and trying to find people. So. All right, well, that is going to wrap up our reincarnation episode for the evening. Got off to an interesting start. We had a great discussion all night, and we will have to reincarnate this reincarnation discussion another time, definitely.
Absolutely.
So.
I can't. I'm going back to Ghosty and his little ectogasm. I'm so
little ectogasm over here. Yeah,
yes.
You missed it. You missed it because you can't see anything that's going on, Vanessa. But when they were talking about the sock earlier in the chat room, I actually put a sock on Ghosty.
No.
I did.
What are they talking about a sock for?
So Ghosty could take care of his ectogasm in the sock?
Oh my gosh. Oh my virgin ears.
So he was wearing a sock for a little while, just in case he had the ectogasm.
Oh my god.
Okay. We have fun here on the rabbit hole. We go.
Yes, we do.
Go there.
Yes, we do. I needed this laugh. Thank y'all so much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, so that's the show. I'm Mike Ricksecker. This is Vanessa Hogle. We got Shana, the chat Shananigator, in the chat room. Have a good night. Till next time.
Bye.